Seen Diddy Combs hit with new indictment expanding span of alarming sexual allegations to 20 years. Seen Diddy Combs once dangled a victim over an apartment balcony. Prosecutors alleged in a new indictment that added 2 more victims and an earlier start date to the disgraced star's alleged reign of sexual terror. Combs, 55, sexually abused his victims for at least 2 decades from 2004 to 2024, federal prosecutors said in a superseding indictment filed Thursday. Previously, the earliest allegations dated to 2008. The new indictment adds new accusations against the music mogul and expands the timeline of the alleged abuse, but does not include any new charges. The 2 new anonymous victims were allegedly subjected to prearranged sexual encounters that often lasted multiple days, were sometimes recorded, and regularly involved sex workers. Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires. The indictment read, accusing him of using such tactics to force 3 unnamed women to engage in commercial sex acts. Combs would keep the women obedient and compliant by feeding them narcotics, according to the superseding indictment. Those acts were similar to the drug-fueled sex marathons Combs dubbed freak-offs, but also included one-on-one assaults from him, the indictment read. Like the freak-offs, these commercial sex acts involving Combs and a female victim were prearranged, sometimes lasted multiple days, were sometimes electronically recorded by Combs, and often involved Combs distributing a variety of controlled substances to the victim, in part to keep the victim obedient and compliant, the indictment read. The hip-hop producer was also newly accused of tracking the victims' whereabouts, dictating the victims' appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. This latest indictment comes days after the first episodes of the explosive documentary, The Fall of Diddy, were released Monday, which included an account from a former personal assistant who said Combs forced him to have sex with a woman to prove his loyalty. "I remember hearing the words, 'Prove your loyalty to me.' Your king," said Philip Pines, who worked for Diddy from 2019 to 2021, adding that the hip-hop mogul was out of his mind before a freak-off. "He grabbed me by the shoulders, gave me a massage like a coach would give a player that's about to enter the game, handed me a condom, pushed me to a girl that was on the couch." Pines submitted and had sex with the woman, explaining that he was afraid to refuse because he'd allegedly seen Combs assault employees who defied him. "My life changed and I've never really recovered from it," Pines said, breaking down in tears. Diddy was arrested in September on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, and a month later, lawyers announced plans to release lawsuits from at least 120 victims of Combs' alleged sexual predation. The alleged victims have ranged from women to young boys.